Hey everyone, welcome back to Doc G's Reloading. Today we're going to talk about March scopes. These are, I'll show you here, these are March scopes there, and just like the month of the year, this is a 100% Japanese made scope, inside and out. The glass is Japanese, which is in an opinion of a lot of people, the best glass in the world. You can see it when you put these side by side against other scopes. A lot of scopes will say made in America, but the glass is actually made in Japan because they just have the ability to make incredibly clear glass without any distortions. I still have these American Rifle Company, what I call clamshell type of scope rings here with the single, bolt at the top there. These have a hinge on each side here. The hinge is right there. You got a hinge right there. On each side, you have one, another hinge there. And then what you do is these open this way. You lock them onto your rifle. You set your scope in. You rotate it. You close these, kind of pre-tighten them a little bit, get this perfectly set, and then just take your handy-dandy torque wrench and just tighten it down till it pops at 55 inch-pounds, and you're done. That's it. It takes all of a minute to install these. Now, the thing about this one does not have that kind. We'll talk about that. But anyway, the March scopes this is their 8 to 80. And yes, I said 80 magnification. And it goes from 8 to 80. Now, this has a second focal plane reticle. I will put a picture into the reticle, right about here, so you guys can kind of see it as I talk about it. Second focal plane reticle means that as you zoom in with your focus, with your magnifier ring, as you go from 8 to 10 to whatever, all the way up to the magnification you want, you magnify the object, but you do not magnify the reticle. The reticle stays the same size. There's advantages and disadvantages to that. The disadvantage, or some people call it an advantage, but the disadvantage, I think, is that depending on what magnification you're on, the distance between the hash marks is not going to be the same. So it could be one MOA, it could be a half MOA, it could be a third or a tenth that you don't know what that measurement is. Now, there's certain settings on the magnification ring that allow you to say, okay, if I'm at a 20 magnification, then each hash mark is worth 1 MOA. If I go up to 40, then it drops to half MOA. What if I go up to 60? What if I go up to 50? It gets a little foggy there. So anyway, but with an 8 to 80 range, I don't think there's any way you could go with a first focal plane because it would magnify the reticle too much. That's why this is a second focal plane, and again, the reticle does not magnify. So we talked about Schmidt-Bender scopes the other day. Those are very heavy scopes. These are the absolute opposite. These are very light scopes. This has a sunshade on it as well. I always put a sunshade on. I'll take that off for you. Now, you can stack sunshades on here as well. That's on the floor now. You can stack sunshades on there, as many as you want. I only put one on. And this is the bare bones scope. Now, this is not cheap. The last pricing I saw on just the bare scope is $4,000. But again, you get what you pay for. This is a 34 millimeter tube. And this is a 30 millimeter tube on this one. I have 3 March scopes. I have this 8 to 80, I have a 1 to 10, and I have a 5 to 25. I have 3 of them because I like them so much. The eye relief on a March scope is second to none. There's so much eye relief back here, which is so nice. You can mount the scope forward, and you have plenty of room back here to not worry about having to get so close to it. So the eye relief on these is incredible. These are all aluminum, super lightweight. This is another 8th MOA, so one click, you can see at the top there, it says 1 click equals 1/8 MOA. Again, so these are all aluminum knobs. To zero these, you have to unscrew it, lift it, turn it to 0, and then screw it back down, and that would be your 0. They're nice and big, easy to grab onto, even with gloves. I've used them with gloves before. They have a positive locking tick as you go back and forth. And they have a lot of other accessories too. So this focus ring here on the parallax adjustment is really nice because it makes it easier than grabbing a smaller knob to adjust it. Also, here's another accessory here. This is the focus ring, or I'm sorry, magnification ring lever. So it's easier to move your magnification. So a couple of little options that you can put on this. So when I'm laying down on the line and I'm shooting, I can reach up with my thumb here and I can just gently move this one way or the other and get the parallax perfectly set so I can see what I'm shooting at perfectly. I still have one of these levels up here, which I always use on all of my scopes. And here, this one has now whereas the Schmidt Bender had just a regular ring back here that you just twisted one way or the other, this has a locking ring. So you loosen up this locking ring here. And of course now, there we go. So we loosen up the locking ring. You can see, you adjust this in or out based on your prescription so that you can see the reticle nice and sharp. And then you just tighten the lock ring back down and then you're done. That's it. Now they do have a 0 set feature up here, this little collar. And that allows you to set it to a certain bottom out position so it doesn't go any lower. And then you just lock it in place with the Allen key and it keeps it in place for you. So this one is super light. The glass on them is absolutely incredible. Even at 80 magnification with this, there's very little darkening of the field. It is crisp and clear from edge to edge. Even my wife, who said she doesn't know anything about scopes or shooting, says that I had these sitting on the table like this. I had this one and another one of my scopes next to it. They were both set to the same magnification level, and she just kind of knelt down and looked through them, and she said, "Oh my gosh, this one is so much brighter." And it is. This transmits so much more light, even in just a 34 millimeter tube. And we're going to talk about a Valdata scope later that has a 40 millimeter tube. And that still doesn't have the light transmission that this one does. So for my money, it's March scopes. So that's the 8 to 80. And then I have this 1 to 10, and this one I use for shooting with my ARs. So AR-10, AR-15. I've even stuck it on my 22. This is a different mounting system though. This is the Bobro mounting system. And what I like about it is you just press this button here. There's a little lever here. You just press that lever down and you snap it up and it pops off your gun, off your Picatinny rail. You get it back on and you just push the lever, snaps down, it locks, it's not going to open, and it's mounted securely to your AR. So you can pop it on and off. And also here's the same accessory. This is that magnifier ring lever. And this one also has this extra piece here I put on. So it's a larger focus ring. It's not as large as this focus ring, obviously, because you can't put that on here. It wouldn't fit. But they make a smaller focus ring, and that's the focus ring right there that allows you to adjust your parallax a little more quickly. Also on this one, you can kind of see I have this is an illumination button for the reticle. So the whole reticle lights up. The middle part there, that gray piece, is the button. And you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 around there. So what you can do is it has 6 settings, and you can just adjust it, pop it onto whatever one you want by just turning, getting it to whatever level you want, depending on how much daylight there is. And yes, you can shoot this with night vision. And then you just press your button, and then that will keep it at whatever lighting level you have out here. So that's really nice. Again, super lightweight scope. This one is your old-fashioned style of mounting, so it does have the gaps on either side as far as the scope ring goes, this whole Bobro scope ring. So you have to make sure that those spaces on each side are equal so that you don't have it over-clamped on one side or another. That's what's nice about these American Rifle Company ones, you don't have to do that. That's what's nice about that one with the clamshell type closure. This one I also have my little accessory there for it. And what's nice about these are these March lens covers is you just snap them back like that, and they stay open. So you open them up, they stay open. You can leave them on through a whole competition and not have to worry about them flopping around. And then this is a 1 to 10x, so you can see there it says 1 to 10 in the front. So that's a 1x to 10x. And what's nice is you can just put it down at 1, and it's like a regular, it's like an EOTech scope without any magnification. And then you can go all the way up to 10x. And again, the eye relief on these is incredible. The glass is incredible. They do such an incredible job with their optics. I can't say enough about March scopes. They're super durable. This one was dropped down the stairs of the basement, and they're not padded stairs or carpeted. They're regular hardwood steps, and this didn't even scratch. So let alone anything in there break. So these are very durable scopes, very lightweight, and for my money, the most incredible glass I've ever seen in a rifle scope. Now, Night Force makes one that are nice, and we'll talk about Night Force later. We'll also talk about Veldata. Those are the other two brands that I have. But I have 3 of these. I may have 3 Night Force, but I think I have 2 Night Force. But anyway, Night Force is about half of the price of these. Usually they're around $1,800 to $2,000. This is $4,000. I don't know what this one is. I'd have to look it up. But they're not cheap, but they've got the best glass I've ever seen in a rifle scope. So if you want to buy a high-end rifle scope that will literally last you the rest of your life, think about March scopes. If you have any questions about March scopes, and again, this is also very lightweight. They're all aluminum construction. So if anyone has any questions about March scopes, please let me know, and I'll be happy to answer them. Thanks again for everyone watching Doc G's Reloading.